Hey guys, Troy here, back with another video today. I get a ton of questions, a ton of DMs from people who are starting out in the sports card hobby, basically from zero, with no experience, limited capital, and they're beginners, right? They don't have that much knowledge. And a lot of those people, they just want to get to it. They want to get to the meat of it, get these appetizers out of here. I want the meal. What do I buy? What can I do right now? And in this video, I'm going to answer exactly what I would do right now if I was starting from zero with concrete steps. I'd give you guys the advice to research, and I could make a 10-hour video talking about sports card hobby and the market, how it moves, and dollar boxes, and building connections, and Instagram, and eBay, and the intricacies, and all this stuff, but we don't have that much time. But I would suggest to you, if you really want to do this seriously, do a ton of research, watch every YouTube video you can, get on Blowout, get on Reddit, get on Google, do as much research as you can, but I cannot answer and explain the whole hobby in a 10-minute video, so I'm not gonna try to. Shout out to Northeast Ohio Sports Cards. He put out a video kind of like this and it inspired me to make it. I think that one was good. There are some other ones where I appreciate what they're trying to say, but it's more like, oh, Warren Buffett once told me life is like a box of chocolates. We don't have time for all that. So right now, let's get into it, exactly what I would do at this exact moment if I was starting basically from zero. So first off, your goal, right? I'm assuming you're in this you wanna make a little bit of money, you wanna build up your bankroll, you wanna build up your capital. That's the first thing you need to do, because it's really hard to invest long-term with $100. You can't set it and forget it with $100. There are certainly certain cards out there that you could buy with $100 and then maybe 2-3 years from now, they're worth $200. That's not bad, but I think if you're watching this video, more than likely that's not what you're looking to do. Once again, this isn't a 10-hour video. We're keeping this under 10 minutes. So I'm just gonna knock out the 4 biggest mistakes I see people making when they first get into the sports card hobby. Number 1, do not buy into box breaks. Do not buy boxes, do not buy packs. If you wanna have fun, by all means, go for it. But if you're looking for any type of return, no way at all. Your expected return on that, let's say you open in a $100 box, on average, your expected return is gonna be something like $10 to $15 worth of cards in that box. That's not to say you can't make money. Hypothetically, you could open in a $100 box and get a $5,000 card, you never know. But if we're trying to make a good strategy, that's not what I personally would do. Number 2, do not buy raw cards on eBay. If you don't know what a raw card is, it's basically just when the card is by itself, like in a top loader in that little case. What I would recommend buying is graded cards in a PSA slab or a BGS slab or even SGC. Why I wouldn't buy it? Raw cards are not as stable. You never know what price you're gonna get. Sometimes they don't appreciate as quickly. And also on eBay, basically if you sell a raw card, the person who buys it can return it for basically any reason just by saying, oh, this card isn't in good condition. So it's just riskier. It's not as beneficial. If you're looking to invest and get in and get out of things quickly that are stable and really track a solid value, I would not buy raw cards. Now the third one, some people might have heard that and said, oh yeah, I'm buying raw. I'm gonna submit them to PSA and get them in that PSA slab, and then they're gonna be worth a ton of money. And I even made that mistake when I first got into it. The problem with that, and why I would not do that if I was starting out, is because even if you pay, if your budget's only $100, the raw cards you're buying are at most like $30, $40. So you can't afford to pay more than $25 to grade them and hope to get a positive ROI. And if you pay that $25 grading fee, which I did, I think it was back in July now, you can expect that to take a full year. Also, PSA is raising their prices. The turnaround times are only getting worse. If you have this small amount of capital and you have it tied up for an entire year, sure, those cards could come back if you choose the right guy and they're worth $200 a year from now. But if you're trying to build up that capital, build up that bankroll fast, I would avoid the buying raw in general, but even buying raw to get graded. Last 3, kind of more rapid fire. Don't buy non-rookie cards. Historically, they don't hold value. They don't appreciate the same. If you want to invest in a certain player, You want to buy his card from his rookie year. That's the best and safest investment. You don't want to buy inserts either. Inserts are basically cards like, for instance, from a set called Prism. People hear, oh, I should invest in Prism cards. This says Tyler Hero Prism. But if you see how it says like Emergent there, or it might say something like Jam Masters or Dunk Masters or like 3-point champ, something like that, you don't want that. You want to stay away from those. It's the same story as non-rookie cards. They don't hold value. They don't appreciate the same way. It's not, in my opinion, a good investment. And the last one is don't buy mid-tier or low-tier players. I think a lot of people, when they get into it, they really want to use their knowledge of basketball, and they'll take someone like PJ Washington, who, no offense to anyone who likes him, I'm sure he's a great player. He can become something good, but that guy's cards are headed to zero sooner rather than later. To give you an idea of how good players have to get for their cards to maintain any hobby value as they get past their first 2 or 3 years, players like Blake Griffin and Draymond Green are basically worth $0. Draymond Green, his Prism and raw condition, this is a 3-time champion, multi-time all-star, has the potential to get into the Hall of Fame. You can get that card for less than $20. So what are the odds that PJ Washington has a career as good as Draymond Green? I would say almost literally 0. So you could have an opportunity to make a small profit in that window. Let's say he has a really good rest of the season. It could go up, but just know that his general trend is going to be going down like this. So you might be able to catch it in that little dip right there, but you're fighting against the momentum, and that's always hard. So that's not what I personally would do. All right, now into the meat of it. What would I do? I told you what I wouldn't do. What would I do? I would do 2 things. And the first thing would be buy a rookie card, PSA 9 in the PSA 9 slab of a star player that I believe in. Optic or Prism for basketball or soccer, Topps or Topps Chrome for baseball, and you might even actually be able to pick up 2. I have a ton of videos talking about players that I would want to invest in, even on a low budget, so check that out on my channel. But just a couple of quick ones, just so you have an idea of the type of, like I emphasize, star players you should be buying. Bam Adebayo, Optic, PSA 9, $30. Think there'll be an increase for him towards the playoffs this year, but in general, this is a star player who's going to be relevant at the league. For $30, getting it already graded, can't go wrong. In soccer, I'd go for someone like Jadon Sancho. Optic, rated rookie, PSA 9, once again, around that $30, $40 range. Could see an increase for him at the Euros. This is a star player who more than likely will be relevant for the next couple of years here. Not a huge baseball channel, but if I was to invest in baseball, I'd go with a star like Cody Bellinger. You can get his Topps or Topps Chrome, once again, around that $30 mark. On eBay, you're gonna wanna go on the left-hand side, scroll down and go to sold listings and type in the card you wanna buy, and you'll see that the last price it sold for. And if you're patient enough and you hunt and you really pick your spots, you'll be able to find one for less than the last one sold for. And that's how you'll know you're getting a good deal and you're not getting ripped off. And if you do that, you might even be able to get 2 of these stud star players for less than $60. Now, what would I personally do with the next $40? I would get on a website called StarStock. On eBay, you have to deal with shipping, taxes, fees, all these different things. And if you're buying more expensive cards or getting into these huge profit margins, it actually can be worth it. To be fair, I have a relationship with StarStock, but there's certain situations where I think your money would be better served on eBay. But if you have this limited budget, taxes and shipping alone and fees are gonna cut out a huge amount of your profit margins. And on StarStock, they don't have that. StarStock is basically a platform where you can trade just the ownership of the card, so it never gets shipped to you. Let's say you're watching this video and you're like, I hate you, PJ Washington is the next best thing. Fine, go ahead. You can go on StarStock and a StarStock A. You can get PJ Washington's Prism or Optic for what I assume is not a very expensive price. And instead of buying his card for $10, paying $5 in shipping, and then one day selling it for $12 and the other person has to pay $5 in shipping and taxes and you have to pay fees. After all that, there's very little profit left for you. You can buy it for $10. Let's say he has a good game. You sell it for even $20. It's not absurd for stuff to double overnight on StarStock if someone plays well. You lose your little 5% fee, you'll lose a little bit, but no taxes, no shipping. Boom, that's basically a $10 profit right there. And if you do that enough, you can really build up your bankroll. Not to mention the fact, if you sign up and you use my code TRIKE415 during sign up, let's say once again, you're on a limited budget, you put in a minimum of $10, they will give you another $10 for free. So even if you're only putting in 10 bucks, they'll give you another 10, you're already at 20, and there's no promises. Sports card investing is risky. To be honest, I didn't do a good job of explaining that throughout the video, but I wanted to move this quick. There are a ton of risks. You have to be prepared to lose your whole $100, but it's not unheard, and I know plenty of people who have started out with that $20 on StarStock, built it up to something like 200, and then all of a sudden you have a good amount of capital to work with. So if you are interested and you really want to use your knowledge of sports, whether it be baseball or basketball or football, and you want to invest in some of these lower tier type guys, let's say you think Dante DiVincenzo is going to have a huge playoffs, or Kyle Kuzma is overlooked right now, something I've been doing is picking up those guys for like $3. So it's not going to take a lot, just a little bit of playoff performance, and they can double up to 6, and then you're good to go if you're on your way. But all right, guys, that's it for the video. I hope I kept it somewhat short. Once again, this is just my opinion. This is just what I would do personally. I wanted to give you guys concrete steps of what I would do at this exact moment. But if you want to make this a long-term thing, do your research before you buy anything. Subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of good info on here, and you'll be able to learn as you go, but you're gonna make mistakes too. I think really the only way to learn is to get started. So that's why I wanted to give you the steps of how I personally would get started. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like it, please like and subscribe, and we're gonna keep the videos coming. Thanks again.